Hello, everyone. This is Rosie, and thank you for tuning in to this episode of my podcast called My Intrusive Thoughts.
So, this was the first day of our internship, and what were your thoughts on the first day? What were you expecting to learn or see?
Um, since it was the first day, I didn't really have any expectations. I feel like I was more concerned with the fact that we just gotten into the system and we still didn't have our degrees, and that was something that was not really considered um, a good way to become a part of the school because not the school to become the part of the system because everybody else around us was either a consultant or a PG or even the house officers around us. They had their degrees at least, so I kind of felt incomplete, and that sort of inferiority complex thing stayed with me for a long while. So I wasn't really expecting anything apart from the fact that I was finally in the hospital, and that was exciting, I guess,
Yeah, I
in a way.
guess because for me the biggest part was just getting out the house. I've been stuck at home for 2 years, and all I remember doing is waking up, eating, and then going back to bed.
Yeah, that was
So
basically that summed up our entire past year during the
yeah,
lockdown.
and I was really grateful for this opportunity. And I don't know if we've talked about this, but the first day of surgery, that's where we started. So we get to this new city and we meet up with a senior of ours.
Yeah.
And bless him, the great seniors. He then took us around this new city. He showed us places.
Yeah.
And
He took us under his wing. He was like our personal Dumbledore or Hagrid or whatever. I mean, yeah, he was kind of Hagrid for us.
Yeah.
He's kind of cute like Hagrid too. He's
Um,
got that fatherly feel to him.
I mean, yeah, sure.
I mean, I wouldn't call him a fatherly figure because he probably will get offended. But he did look after us during this time, and although we are on a more friendlier terms than is strictly necessary for seniors and juniors to have, but it kind of felt good to be around somebody who could give us a better perspective and ideas, and uh, just to have somebody back us up in this
Yeah,
cruel world
obviously.
where people were discriminating us just for having
It's
schooled in
existing.
China,
Yeah.
which was not a lot,
Hmm.
thankfully. We had some great people around who really encouraged us and were nice about the fact that we'd basically had online schooling for almost 2 years.
Maybe it was the charade we put up. We never really, you know, made it look like we don't know things. Actually, we
Yeah.
actually didn't know a lot of things, but uh, it wasn't as bad as I heard it would have been. Because before I came to Pakistan, I heard there would be a lot of discrimination against us, especially the students from China. But it wasn't. It wasn't. It was actually a very pleasant experience. So, this great daddy senior of ours, he takes us to the hospital. And there he takes us to the first. Okay, well, let's start off from the beginning. I won't take up much time, but he takes us to the nephrology ward first.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about him. I thought you were talking about the PG. That's who was calling a fatherly figure, not him.
Well, folks, you heard it.
A little communication problem glitch we've just had. We don't call everybody a daddy here, okay? That's not how we roll.
At least I don't, but I can't speak on her behalf.
Okay, no, I have like a strict age reference when it comes to daddying somebody up.
Okay, so listen. Yeah. Let's just skip the whole first part then.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just skip to our Hagrid daddy in surgery. And
Get to the juicy parts
Yeah.
of the gossip.
the juicy parts?
Yeah.
Actually, there was
Tell me about your most memorable experience in surgery.
My most memorable experience in surgery. Well, this was, I guess, was there a day that you never came to the ER? Or,
Thankfully, I was a very punctual kid in the beginning, and
oh
I
yeah,
attended almost all of our ERs.
yeah.
And
In the beginning, we were very, very punctual.
yeah, I mean, it was the first time, and we just had the internship of our lives handed to us on a silver platter. So I wasn't gonna miss out the chance to be at the hospital and see everything happen with my own two eyes.
Oh, but actually, you got the better end of the deal. I think you got the better end of the deal in surgery.
As in,
You want to know why?
why?
Because you found this female PG.
Oh, bless her. She was the sweetest, most
Yeah,
kind, most patient PG you could have ever asked for.
exactly.
And it wasn't just because, I think it was more because we both had the same
Why?
awkward, like,
you were both
reserved
awkward.
sort of persona. So we
Mm.
kind of vibed well. We could sit silently
Mm.
without saying a word for hours on end.
Yeah.
I think we've had some shifts where we barely spoke to each other. It was just like, business talk, or like, yeah, so I would go up to her, talk about a patient, get something signed, or strictly business talks. We probably just said hi and bye in the, like,
Okay.
the entire shift.
Mm.
But that felt comfortable. We worked really well together, and we were efficient, and we never had the on-call consultant ever get mad at us when
Yeah.
we were working together.
Me, on the other hand, I mean, Daddy Hagrid was always there, but he was a busy guy. He gave us how much he could give, but then I was left to the mercy of the other PGs.
No, but to put this in perspective for my audience, I would like to give you an overview of what the ER looked like on the busiest of busy days. So basically, our ER is divided into a male and a female surgery unit, and we basically have a lot less cases in female side
Yeah,
than
not
we
many.
do in the male side, because we get a lot of RTAs, I mean roadside accidents, traffic accidents,
Ooh,
and
those are
then we
bad.
have some other stuff like falls and dislocated hips and fractures and stuff like that from other
And
things.
friendly household
Yeah.
punching matches.
Yeah,
sometimes.
friendly household accidents
Yeah.
happening a lot, and burns, and all sorts of other stuff. So that, I don't know why males around here are more prone to accidents like that. Y'all are clumsy, okay? Some sort of stuff that I saw, I was like, how could you end up with this? Like, how did this happen? Like, why did this happen? I had this dude come in.
Okay.
I was working in the male side,
Mhm.
and he was like, he had a whole gunshot wound on his leg, and he was just sitting there. And I think he was berating himself while I was talking to him, because even he could tell that the story he was telling sounded like such a bull. Like, how the hell did this happen?
What was the story?
So basically, he said that he had just bought this gun
Okay.
recently,
Mm.
and he was just trying to figure it out and stuff, how it worked and everything. So he loaded the gun.
Okay.
This dude just loaded that gun,
Mhm.
and instead of unloading it, he put it in his pant pocket,
Okay.
just like that.
I see.
And then it somehow got triggered, and he shot himself in the leg.
Wow. Well, he'll remember that for life, I guess.
Yeah, never keep a loaded gun in your pants.
It's like you buy a new car, you make a copy of the car keys, so you remember your first car.
Yeah.
And you buy a new gun, you shoot yourself in the leg. You have a hole to remember it for.
And he was
So-
just like, he I think he was in shock because he couldn't understand.
Was
he
it a
couldn't
young
grasp
guy?
that this had happened, huh?
Was he young?
No, he was a well-aged, like middle-aged man
Yeah.
with his wits about him.
Okay.
Clearly, at that time,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he had them, but otherwise, he looked like a very fairly intelligent man.
Okay.
But then accidents happen all the time.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
You
yeah,
can't
there's a
stop.
lot of other things. You remember that dude that came in with was it a brush or was it a shampoo bottle in his ass? We've had some,
What?
yeah, you don't remember that?
Where was I?
I don't know.
Who's
One of my PG comes out of the OT and he's
Oh, yeah, I
laughing his ass
remember.
off.
There was this old guy with a glass bottle up his bottom.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that I remember, because you know how brittle glass is, right?
Oh my god. Ouch.
You can't stick in forceps; it'll break inside. So I remember this senior PG that we had. He
Uh-huh.
stuck both his fingers inside and just prying this bottle out.
Ouch.
And all the while he was doing that, he was just praying, "Please don't break. Please don't break. Please don't break." I remember that
Yeah,
vividly.
that would have been messy.
But yeah, tell me about the shampoo bottle. That sounds more interesting.
I don't even remember.
Head
Like,
and
I don't
Shoulders?
remember the details because I just remember. I just have this vision of him coming out of the OT and he was laughing. Like, he was full on. He was in tears. He was laughing so hard.
Okay.
And then everybody was like, "What's going on?" And then he couldn't even get his words out.
Okay.
And then because there were a lot of females around, he just didn't want to say it because he just felt, I don't know, uncomfortable talking about it in front of us. So he didn't really give us the details, but I later on from
Sources.
the words travel,
Yeah.
the gossip vineyard.
The tea spills. Yes.
Yeah, so I just heard about this whole incident happening, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is why he was dying of laughter.
Oh God. In pursuit of happiness, people go to extreme lengths, and
But please don't be shoving up things up your bottoms.
you think
'cause-
our listeners are that deprived?
No, I mean things that would need forceps and a visit to the ER to get out.
Listen.
Ultimately.
If you can put it in, you must find a way to get it out. That's all that you have to know.
No, but then what's the point of having an ER if you have to? Don't try it at home. Please don't try it at home. And if you do, please do go to the ER and be truthful about how it got up there.
Yeah.
Okay? Because like a very badly written,
It's like a Charlie Chaplin sketch. Yeah, just
Yeah.
those silent movies where people slip on banana peels and then
yeah,
bottles end up inside their bottoms. Oh God.
that just sounds.
That went off on a very unusual tangent, but listen.
But these are things that I will remember for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
I mean, even though
definitely.
they probably are not as rare in other places.
But for us, yeah.
Yeah.
For us, definitely.
Never heard of that before.
I don't think I'll ever see a man come into the ER with a shampoo bottle
Yeah,
up
that
his
was
bottom.
definitely a rare occurrence, I hope.
Oh, but surgery was the chillest, I'd have to say.
Yeah, only because we had some very fun people around
Oh, yeah.
and working with them, even though we were working almost 16-hour plus shifts at a time.
We were, didn't we?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
God.
sometimes we would like sleep in the hospital and eat in the hospital, and even we spent Ramazan in the hospital.
We did.
Yeah, Iftari, Sehri, everything. And
Mm.
I remember, I think it was the most memorable time, the most memorable Ramazan for me, because we would be in the surgery ward, and it would be time for Sehri, and then we would like literally be rushing around. The patients would just be sitting there watching us, in this frenzy. And we had this one bathroom in the surgery ward, and we wouldn't even have time to like go back to the doctor's office and change or do anything else. So we would just like stay there, bring our everybody had their toothpaste and toothbrushes and everything else with them, so we would just be walking around the ward brushing our teeth talking to the patients because we would be running short of time.
Yeah.
So it was kind of wild but memorable in that sense.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And aftaris were like a myth at a point because sometimes people would not be around for the entire day. But the minute the azan happens and you're supposed to break your fast, people would rush in like people like they've been just released from some jail or something, and they would be pouring into the ER.
Yeah, that's
like,
the devil trying to delay your iftar.
Yeah, I've had days where I wouldn't even like the iftar time is 7 and I wouldn't have even a sip of water till 8 or 9. So yeah. And usually this would be the time we would be clocking out.
Yeah.
But then we would have to stay back because too many patients, and you just have to stay back.
We didn't have to. We didn't have to.
We're nice people. We're good doctors, okay? Everybody.
Excellent doctors. And one day, even though we won't achieve a Nobel Prize, we will achieve something, hopefully.
Definitely. Inshallah.
So, all in all, surgery comes to an end in Ramadan or after Ramadan? Was it?
Yeah, after Ramadan, I think. Because Eid was still in surgery.
And
We
then
had
I
Eid in
vividly
surgery.
remember Rukaya telling me to ask our Hagrid daddy about medicine.
Yeah.
And I've been pestering him for days. I still remember I'd call him up in the middle of the night. Have you talked to the medicine PG? Have you asked? Have you asked? And one day I was just sitting with him at his clinic that he works at. And he's like, fine, man. Let me just call her right now. And that was the first. And I guess you had gone back home. You were back
Yeah.
home.
Yeah. My dad was
Oh, yeah,
in
your dad
town.
was here, yes. And I wanted to get the whole medicine thing figured out before she got back. And he told me the name of the doctor like 20 times, right? But I still couldn't remember her name. And when Rukaya asked me about the doctor, I vividly remember I told her that the doctor's name was Dr. Sara, which was nothing close to the
To what her actual name was.
actual name was. And she is the loveliest human being
Yeah.
you'd ever meet. The kindest, the sweetest. I don't like words cannot explain. Right? She's that type of person.
She became our Mama Hagrid.
Oh yes.
Although she's more
definitely.
of a McGonagall. But not a McGonagall. She was sweet. She was really
She is. She still is.
I mean, but she's not our senior anymore. Like, as in, we're not colleagues. We're not working together anymore. So now she's upgraded to the friends sort of,
Yeah.
circle. But yeah, that I remember the first day we went to see her, and
It was.
she had a night shift.
Nope.
She had a night shift.
That was not the first day we met her. The
Well,
first.
you didn't meet her. Like, I remember the first time I met her
I didn't meet her before that too. We both met her at the same day.
at night during her night shift when we went to the ward.
Nope. Remember
Yes.
we went to the conference hall in Ward 11, and they were having this seminar.
That was afterwards.
No, we didn't meet her before that, did we?
We did.
We didn't.
I remember that she called us.
Hmm.
She was like, she was like, why don't you come see me in the ward? And we did, and it was packed, and she was like, okay, you guys can come on the next weekend.
I would like to disagree, because you see, the first day I took you to meet her, she was in a conference, and it was some pharmaceutical company.
Where
And
we had those weird burgers.
there were burgers and pizzas and all
Yeah.
that. And because I remember this because she had never seen me before, right? And I had to ask some people around, like, where is this doctor? And when she was sitting there, I went up to her, and I'm like, hello.
Oh yeah, I kind of remember it now.
Yeah. And that was
Okay,
the
yeah.
first time I'm like, this is me, and this is Ruqayya. And
She offered us pizza.
Oh yes. Oh my god. She's like, eat.
Yeah.
You guys are so.
And at that minute, I knew that it's gonna be the loveliest time we have. But then I don't know why, but I also remember this time we went to see her in the ward.
We did though.
It was the busiest night
yeah.
ever. It was a nightmare.
I guess
God.
that was the first time we went to the ward, like
Maybe.
to work at the ward.
But we'd never seen her before because I remember that. Maybe we'd met her before. I don't know. I keep mixing up things. It's been like what?
It's been a year.
Yeah. So,
Right, so
how can I remember everything? But yeah, we met her, and the summary of this whole debate is that she is the sweetest lady ever. She took us in. She was like, "Yeah, of course, y'all are gonna work with me, and let's do this." So she calls us up to the ER. She's like, "Let's start with the ER."
we even had a group for study.
Yeah.
And that never happened.
Well, she did answer questions, but then she would be like, "Let me read it up again. I want to, revise with you guys." It's like, okay. And then sometimes we did actually study in during the
Yeah, we did.
shifts, but we kind of upgraded from just talking to her to other PGs who were always ready to, impart their wisdom and their knowledge with us.
It was surprising because when we were in surgery, all I heard was constantly that medicine's going to be hell.
Yeah.
Medicine is hell.
We actually went into medicine thinking that it's going to be the worst time of our lives.
Exactly.
And also because everybody was talking about how it's going to be summer and, it's always suffocated and saturated.
It was hot.
And yeah, but everybody's like, you're going to die of dehydration, and people were like, please put timers on your phone so that you can remember to drink water and eat your food and get enough sleep and whatever. I was like, why are y'all making it sound like some sort of, punishment, like we're going to
Exactly.
jail or something?
And that had me really freaked out. I
Yeah.
wasn't looking forward to medicine.
And funnily enough, our first day in the ER triage, I
Oh, the
remember.
trials, yeah.
Oh God, we didn't sit down. Like we walked in, we introduced ourselves to each other,
Yeah.
and then we didn't even have the time to, make small talk because it was like our first day on work, and we were supposed to like slowly, transition into this.
God.
But like first like the minute we walked in, she just handed us like the papers, like the
Yeah.
patient that like there was this patient standing next to her, and she just gave his like paper to me, and she's like, go look at him, whatever he wants. And then I had to go check him up and everything. So that day was chaos. Like I think we saw almost 200 patients in a span of like 3 hours.
No joke, yeah.
And after that I was like, oh my God. And then I looked at my watch. We'd clocked in around like 9.
Mm-hmm.
We usually clocked in around 9, even though the official hours started at 8. But we were like, fashionably late because we're observers, cut us some slack.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we went in like at 9, and then it was around 12. I looked at my phone. I was like, I thought we would be done with this whole shift by now, but it's only been like 3 hours. And she just looked at me and she laughed. I remember she just laughed. That was the most genuine laugh she has ever had, I think. I was just like, honey, it's just a start.
Oh.
And then she was like, she probably felt bad for us. And then she was like, go have a break,
Yeah, go have a break.
And I remember I went to the cafeteria and I had this loveliest strawberry milkshake. I was chilled and cold, and I was like, oh my God, yes, please. I needed that.
And I don't know what I was thinking. I had the khoya khajur for some reason. It was nice though. It was nice.
Mm-hmm.
But the best part was the triage. And then we slowly transitioned into the main ER.
Yeah. We did quite a few triages, and I think I loved the triage. I don't know, I might be a masochist, but I loved the I loved the rush. I loved the not having to sit down and just constantly being on your feet, just constantly working on something, just constantly looking out after patients. And also because in triage you usually get patients that can be dealt with right away. People who come in with like maybe stomach pains or diarrhea or something, and you would write them their medication and you would instantly feel them getting better.
I mean, yeah.
To some extent. So because in triage you're supposed to prioritize, right? So some patients that could be dealt with, right away, you write them, prescribe the medicine, then they would be on their way. And then at that time, because we were just new, so all the hard cases, all the chronic cases, and all the cases that needed a little more understanding to look at,
we just passed.
We just like go to the main ER. Go to the amount of patients we refer to the main ER. I think people at the main ER were like, "Who are these kids? Why did they get placed there?"
We never sent a patient that wasn't critical. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if a person comes with hypertension, if someone comes in with high glucose levels,
we tried to deal with them in the triage, but when we were in the main ER, we got sent all these patients all the time, and I was like, what are these people in the triage doing?
Exactly.
We treated them in the triage. Like, why are they sending these people here? But then again, I mean, it's just how it transitioned, from just prescribing pain medication to slowly looking at patients with chronic
and making diagnosis and reading
differentials and all of that, and doing full body checkups and examinations, and it was fun. I loved medicine, and to this day I feel like I can't choose between I don't think I can choose between surgery or medicine, because I enjoyed both of them equally. And I like when someone's like, so what are you going to take up as a specialty? I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. I loved both of them.
Actually, I've been on this roller coaster because when we started surgery, I fell in love with surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Then we started medicine, I fell in love with medicine. And then we did peds.
Yeah.
I fell in love with peds.
Peds for me is like a whole can of worms. So I don't know. I mean, I think I could be a very good pediatrician, but at the same time, there's a lot of emotional baggage that comes with it, and I don't think I'm ready for that, because kids are
precious.
I mean, kids are precious anyways, like period. But sick kids are just I don't think I can not get emotionally involved. And because peds was a whole roller coaster for me, if there ever was an internship that could have gone all ways, all different sideways, it was Peds for me. Even though I didn't really work for a long time there because there was a lot going on during that. But yeah, as
that part was a haze.
Yeah.
The whole Peds thing.
But to sum up the medicine internship, I feel like I learned a lot. And that's thanks to the PGs that we had. They were always hands-on. They were always ready to, talk. They were always ready to explain. They were always ready to help you understand. And I think that is so important as a newcomer, as a junior, for you to have people that
don't just judge you out the gate.
Yeah.
Even though...
I think I remember I asked the most dumb questions at times, like, and they would never judge.
Yeah.
And that was on a whole a great thing because you felt comfortable enough to ask questions and to reach out and, because, I mean, on the other side, all these PGs that we worked with, we were on great terms with, and we joked around and we were sarcastic and we were like, witty and all sorts of other...
There wasn't a difference, like, they were our friends.
Yeah, they treated us like friends. Like, I felt like I was part of a group. First time in my life, I felt included, and that was so good. Like, the introvert me was like rejoicing because somebody had reached out and were like, be my friend.
Accepted us. Exactly.
Yeah, they accepted us. We were part of the clan. And that felt nice because they would have birthdays and they would outings and stuff. And sometimes just, I think we remembered 14th August, Independence Day there, and we cut the cake as well, and they included us. They called us.
It was the 14th of August.
Yeah.
And it was somebody's birthday.
Yeah, I don't remember.
So we cut 2 cakes.
Yeah, it was one of the ex-PG's birthdays, I think. They called her up specifically to cut the cake.
Yeah.
So, and she was really nice too. So she looked like they're all standing in a line trying to take pictures, and then we're just standing in the corner. She's like, why are you guys standing there? Come, be part of the frame. And I was like, oh my God, she wants us to, be included in this.
We were part of every, except the last farewell for the HOs.
Yeah.
For the hoes. Other than that, we were included in everything.
Yeah.
It's like we were actually a part of Ward 11.
Yeah.
And it was really nice.
It really, a memorable experience. And after we were done, I remember I was talking to one of the ex-hosts that graduated from here. And
that will never not be funny.
The one that had psyched me up for this one rotation. So I texted him, I was like, I had the most fun in this ward. And I don't know what you were smoking during that time because you made it sound like hell, but I enjoyed it so much. And basically I told him that, we had different experiences, but then we also agreed on this, that it was one of the most fun
and rewarding.
Regardless of all the hectic duties and, the heat and being dehydrated and stuff, because definitely that did happen, but I didn't feel it as badly or in a negative light because
the good outweighed bad. All the learning we did, all the new experiences just washed everything out.
Definitely
nothing else mattered. Summer was hell, but we made it through.
Oh my, we did not have, I mean, this sounds like I probably will sound like a spoiled rich brat saying this.
Aren't you?
But no, I'm not. I've been working my ass off 4 hours away from home, living here all by myself, walking to hospital every day, and you still dare call me a spoiled rich brat?
All I did was ask a question.
I'll take full offense for that. But anyways, I mean, we did not have air conditioners, and the heat of the city is nothing like we'd ever seen. I mean, you were in Kuwait, so probably you were familiar at least with the...
No, I was not because see, the weather was very similar to Kuwait's, but in Kuwait, everywhere you went, even at the bus stands, you had ACs.
Yeah, I mean, now you sound like a rich brat, okay? Spoiled rich brat, not me.
I'm just a guy who's privileged enough, who God blessed enough to be born.
This dude owns a 13 Pro Max, guys. Don't judge him. Please judge him on my behalf.
Okay, sure. And says the lady with an iPad. What is this iPad?
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay. But alhamdulillah for everything, and but the heat really, if it was
fucked us up.
Yeah,
That's as polite as I can
She
be.
just made poetry. It really
Oh my
did fuck us
god.
up.
We were sweating, the patients were sweating, the staff was sweating.
Yeah.
It was a lot of sweat, it was a lot of heat, it was a lot of suffocation. And on top of that, we would have hours long of power cuts. So
Oh no.
yeah, that was not a good mixture. But we survived that. We survived all of that.
We did.
Although we ended up with a lot of like, I had a full on skin infection, yeast infection because of that. And
My vitamin D dropped to
yeah,
dangerous levels.
yeah. So yeah, we ended up with a bit of side effects, but still, I think it was worth it.
It was.
I would take that and more if I could like work in this sort of environment again.
You want to do this again?
I mean,
I mean, if they paid us.
yeah,
it would be-
definitely.
yeah.
It's please give me money. Please give me tian. Okay, what tian?
Okay, what's the least amount of chian you would?
The least amount of come on. I mean, I need at least like 5k yuan or something.
That is so low. 5k? This economy?
The bar has been set too low because we've worked here for free. So any amount of money would be, all right. I've been living the broke life so long that even 5 yuan sounds like a dream right now.
Oh, you mean 5k RMB?
Yeah, yuan.
Oh, I was thinking about rupees.
Honey, you can't even buy, I think, 2 large pizzas in that amount of money now.
I could spend 10.
Petrol prices are fucked up right now.
I would know. I had to fill up my tank twice this week.
Oh god.
And it hurts. It hurts when the money comes out the pocket. It hurts.
Yeah.
It's just.
And then also because you know that you don't have a way of that money being replaced because you don't have a paid job.
Oof. But I'm going back to the land of a land where oil flows like rivers. It doesn't matter.
Oh my god. So yeah, that was medicine.
Medicine was the best.
And then happened one of the most memorable
Dun, dun, dun.
internships. I mean, I guess if I had to say which was the most memorable, it would definitely be medicine. But Pete's would be a close, second.
A very close second, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if I've look, we hadn't found the type of PGs that we had in medicine. The thing in medicine was they were very, very educated.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean this disrespectfully, but they knew what they were talking about. But the PGs in the pediatric wards, they knew things, but I mean, it wasn't to that level, so they couldn't teach us as much as the medicine people did.
I feel like it's not the fact that they didn't know what they were talking about. It's the fact that their working hours were so fucked up. Like, Pete's schedule of duties is completely different from, the medicine one. So it's not like you have a day off even. If you're working in the day, you have to show up at the ER at night. So you have to be everywhere, all over at once. So definitely that takes a toll on you, and you don't want to, talk if it's not necessary. You don't want to waste your breath.
But all the PGs were like happy-go-lucky people.
Yeah, they were nice, and the profession that you're dealing with sort of ultimately affects how you are as a person. It affects your personality, because at this point I think I can tell what sort of specialty a person has just by their demeanor, with the way they talk, with the way they act, even with the way they walk, because the surgery people are chill. They're they're
complete to the bone.
Yeah, they saunter, like they stroll around the place when they're like on their off days, or when they're having their round. They're like chill people. Like if they're not in the ER, they're having the time of their lives, sitting around in the cafeteria, smoking, talking and enjoying their samosas and their chaat. And then you have the medicine people. They're like, they appear to be fine. But it's like one word away from letting it all out. Like So they're definitely the most overworked people around, always tired, always fatigued. And then there are the peds people. They look like they have a lot to do, but when you talk to them, they talk to you like your kids.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like, because they have to deal with kids all
Yeah,
the time.
they're not talking down on you.
Yeah, it sounds like they're patronizing you. They're
Yeah,
not. They're
they're not.
trying not to. Like, they probably don't intend to do
Yeah,
that.
it just become a part of them.
Yeah, they have to, like, always.
Dealing with kids all the time.
Yeah.
And then they can't differentiate.
Kind of delicate. They have that delicate edge to them.
Yeah,
So that's really nice. They're nice people. Because I remember I talked to the speechy. We had a patient come in. Remember the patient with the, what was it, meningitis case?
Oh yeah, the one kid that came in with it was a Pathan, right?
Yeah, some sort of like meningitis, which was
Yeah.
not diagnosed properly,
Oh,
and the
yeah,
kid
yeah.
deteriorated very fast. So we had this one kid, and it was the most heartbreaking case I've ever had to deal with. And the kid had like spasms, and it was just bad. It was all over, very bad. And I remember that his mother was constantly crying. So with other specialties, attending to the patients' attendants and their loved ones is obviously a task. It's always a task, breaking bad news to attendants, telling your patients' loved ones stuff that they probably don't understand, and you have to break it down and stuff.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of tactics, and it takes a lot of empathy to convey these things to people, because obviously in a hospital setting, you can't always be telling them good news. Sometimes you have to be
Most times.
Yeah, sometimes you have to tell them bad news as well, and it's a very tricky job. So with other sort of specialities, it's still kind of easy because you're talking with patients that are adults, so they know things. But with kids, breaking bad news is just heartbreaking in itself, because
it's all the hopes and emotions attached to this
and
kid.
especially their parents, and most of them come they're young parents that come in with young kids, and it's just so heartbreaking to see them break down, and to watch them watch their kids fight for their lives, and it's frustrating, and it's just heartbreaking. So I remember that I had this one kid, and I was looking at his X-rays and MRIs, and I couldn't understand what was going on, because remember, we were not trying to we're trying to figure out if it was meningitis or not.
Yeah.
So we're looking at the his scans, and then we couldn't figure out. So I went up to my PG and I'm like, "Sir, can you explain?" And he had probably just gotten off his lunch break or something, dinner break. He looked at me, he looked at his tea, and then he looked up at me again, and he had this that expression of agony. He's like, "Please, can you give me a minute? I've been at this the whole day. Please, I need just 5 minutes alone." And I felt so bad, and I was like, "Okay, sir, please have your time. Take your time. You can explain to us anytime you want."
But yeah.
But then he did come back and try to explain it, so that's good. He, fulfilled his promise, and that's good. So, but anyways, how do you remember the first night in the neonatal ward? How did you feel? What are your thoughts on that first night in peds?
First night, actually, you and me, we started in the ER, right? So you were getting kind of depressed. So I was like, let's go, let me take you to a place where you'll see little babies laying around, and hopefully cheer you up. So we go to the nursery, where they keep all the babies. And I swear to God, as soon as she jumped into the nursery, she just went from bed to bed, touching all these children, okay, saying how cute they were. But for me, it was bad because it was hot. I was melting.
It was a nursery. They had them they had warmers and stuff. So
because I got this is so funny. I was afraid I was having some type of symptom. Then once we left, I realized, the warmers.
Yeah.
And I remember telling her I think something's wrong with me.
Oh God, that night would be, part of my life forever, because I have a very, unique birth story as well. It's like the talk of town. It's like that one anecdote that comes up in every family gathering.
Yeah.
Because I was a twin, and my twin was a stillborn, and I was born premature, and then I was in the incubator in the ICU for I think 40 days, and to this day the peds doctor, he told my mother that there's only like 1% of kids with my history that survive in Pakistan. So I was like, he called me a miracle child. So I saw so many of these kids and I saw myself in them. And that really resonated with me. And unfortunately, most of them did not survive.
Oh yeah, most of them mostly did not.
Most of these pre-em kids did not make it. And that just got to me. And unfortunately, the first child expiry that I saw, this is probably going to trigger a lot of people. I'm sorry for saying this, but the first child expiry that I saw was actually a premature baby.
Right.
And the way the child expired was so messed up that I don't know. That one thing was the most infuriating incident that has happened. I've never been angry at patients' attendants. I always try to be sympathetic. I always try to be polite, and I always try to, because I know that they're going through a lot. Their loved one is in pain, and their loved one is sick, and they themselves are being affected by all of that. And just being in a hospital environment is not good for your mental health.
Yeah.
But then sometimes people are just so annoying that you just can't help but just feel like you need to scream,
just punch somebody in the face.
Yeah. So basically this woman was, I don't know what connection she had with the baby. I think she was her aunt or something. There was like a premature kid on support, and she was supposed to like be standing there looking after her and call the doctor if something was wrong.
Okay.
So she was just standing there.
And doing what?
Nothing.
Okay.
I mean, the fact that you're standing here, the whole point of you standing there is that you look at your child and, make sure that the child is breathing and whatever. And I'm pretty sure the doctors had briefed her that if something is wrong, you call the doctors immediately.
Yeah.
What she did was, she'd covered the entire baby from head to foot.
Okay.
In a blanket.
Oh, even the face?
Yes, the face too.
Oh my God.
It's just, I don't know, this is very common in Pakistani culture to bundle up your kids no matter what. So there was already a warmer inside and whatever, and the kid was already going like the kid was in respiratory distress anyway, so they had the oxygen attached and everything.
Yeah.
Top of that, she had covered her face or whatever. And then I was like doing my rounds. Like this was one thing that I constantly did when I was in the nursery.
Yeah, she never sat down.
The one place that I never sat down, because I would just walk around and check for the oxygen levels and just make sure that all the babies were all right. So I'm doing my usual round, and I'd look at this baby, and I for a minute I was like, yeah, so the attendant is next to the baby, so they're probably okay, so I can come back later. But then in my head I was like, no, let me just check this baby. I take off the, blanket, and the baby's gone.
Oh God!
It's my first day, and this is my first actual, patient that has collapsed on me, and I don't immediately. I did not know what to do, even though I'd done all these other rotations.
Yeah.
I just was in such a big shock that I don't know why I had not anticipated this whole thing, but that was the worst night of my life.
Nothing could prepare you to see a child dead, I guess.
I know, and I think even then I tried my best. I started CPR, I checked the pulse and everything, and then I rushed over to call my other team, and we all got there and we tried to do everything, but the child could not be saved. But then what really aggravated me was the fact that the woman was just standing there, and I don't know what's the purpose of you being there.
That's a whole other can of worms. I know
it sounds kind of insensitive when I say that like that, but if people knew the way the government hospitals in Pakistan work,
exactly,
you would know that sometimes you're just on your own with your patients, and you have to tell the doctors, because too many patients, not enough doctors. So sometimes we explicitly have to tell patients that attendants of the patients that if something happens, you have to personally call us so we know, because we can't be everywhere all the time. So she just sat there, and the child could have been saved. I mean, obviously you can't, whenever it's supposed to happen, it's going to happen anyways.
When the time comes.
But just the fact that there was a slight chance that the kid could have been saved, that aggravated me so much, the idea. And I remember that I almost had a blackout. I almost fell. I fainted. It was bad.
Yeah, especially it's not that bad when it's with elders or the elderly.
No,
It's
I think any life lost is
look, I'm not trying to be insensitive here, but it's like when
they've lived full lives, and you know that
yeah, that's what I mean.
yeah, sometimes the kind of shape they come in, you're like, the life that they're living right now is so,
So much worse. They could
yeah,
it's worse than death.
yeah. So it's sometimes you can associate the relief of death with that, even though every life lost is a tragedy and just as sad as anything else. But with babies, it's especially cruel and just heartbreaking,
Because of the
because
potential,
they
'cause of
have
the
their
future,
entire lives
yeah.
ahead of them.
They never got to experience
Yeah, and
life.
they never even left the hospital, so that really messes you up. But then as time goes on, you kind of get desensitized to that, and also you see a lot of patients that do get better and leave, and
Well, yeah,
you see their families rejoice,
those
and
are the happy moments.
yeah,
Like,
and so they sort of I told myself that I will only focus on that
aspect of
Yeah.
pediatrics.
But I feel like Peach was a more eventful experience for you than me, because I didn't spend a long time there. You did more ERs than anybody
I
else.
actually spent a lot of days and nights
Mm-hmm.
without Rukaya. She had gone to
I'd gone back home, basically.
yeah, and she missed out on a free movie.
Yeah, what movie was it? Molajat?
Molajat.
Well, I'd watched it like a couple times already with different people, so I wasn't really missing out. But
the joy of watching a free movie,
yeah.
with all expenses paid, that's a different kind
And
of
with
joy.
your colleagues, that was like a colleague trip that I missed out, which I
Yeah.
never got a chance to have anyways. But yeah, that was nice.
That was one eventful thing. Then, other than that, I actually bonded with all of them over there.
Yeah.
Everyone got so.
You were the hero of Pete's.
I mean,
He was so well sought out. Like it was like Shah Rukh Khan walks in, in a cinema hall, and everybody's like, "Oh my god!" Everybody wants a piece of him. Hisham was that for the
wish,
Pete's.
God, no.
Because any collapsed patient, any child with distress, they would be like, "Where's Hisham?" And Hisham would always be found at the nursing station preparing medications. He was so punctual about that. He was like all business-like, he looked more like a chemist than he did a doctor in those moments. He's like measuring, all
Those
these
vials. Yeah,
and to this day, I think I still have, a hard time remembering dosages. He had it all down. Like I would have to walk up and be like, okay, what
God.
dosage do I have to give?
There were so many times where I felt embarrassed asking them because I always kept forgetting.
Yeah.
And one day I was like, nope, I will remember them. I will, and I did. I still haven't forgotten. Thank God. But we have to be so precise with children.
Yeah.
Especially with the medication. A little less or a little more could make a big difference.
I think I did more of the blood transfusions than anything.
Oh yeah, she was always at the thalassemia side.
Yeah.
She was always surrounded by these thalassemia children.
Yeah, it was either that or at the IV station.
Oh yeah.
The amount of needles I put in.
My veins never showed on my fingers, but ever since we started peds, my veins.
You've worked out your hands.
I've worked my fingers. I've worked out my fingers, and yeah, that's kind of cool.
I had my days. Okay, I had my good IV days, and then I had my bad IV days.
There were definitely bad days. More bad days than good days.
I had more good days, which is always going to be a very inspiring thing for myself, because if there's one thing that I hate about this whole field, just medicine in general, is needles. I have the biggest fear of needles.
Even if you're the one controlling the needle?
Yeah, still. It's like every time I pricked a patient, no matter what age they were, I felt that in my bones. You have no idea. You need to listen to, the recounts of me getting shots and IVs from my father, from my family, and they would tell you in great detail the kind of fuss I would create. Like I would always lead my dad into a goose chase around the house when he was trying to give me a flu shot. I was that afraid. I would beg him to not. I would be like, end me, kill me, please don't give me a flu shot. Like I was dramatic. I was like, oh God, this was the last. I think I've been traumatized by the amount of flu shots I've gotten as a kid, and the tetanus shots, because I think the worst part was that my dad did it himself because he's a doctor, so we didn't really take me out to the hospital. He would just, if I needed a flu shot, he would give it to me himself because he could. I mean, yeah. So that really messed up with my like whole association with hospitals and needles, because it was my dad doing it. I was like, how could you do that to me?
Betrayal comes from the ones closest to us.
Yeah, so I've had the biggest fear of needles, and then I ended up pricking babies, newborns.
Some of these children were so brave. Like, they would just sit there and take it.
That was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
That was actually very heartbreaking to watch, because most of them were thalassemia kids, and they'd been doing this for, I think, since they were born actually.
Yeah, because...
And I remember this little young child. He was like 4 years old, and usually, putting in an IV for kids is a whole process. You have to first prepare them mentally, counsel them into it. Then you have to sit them. Then you have to sterilize, and then you have to go in with the process itself. And then you have to bandage them up, and then you have to counsel them again because they're crying, obviously, because they're in pain. So it's like it takes a while, okay. But this kid, he comes in and he's like, I'm a thalassemia. He was holding his own chart.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I need to get an IV. And he looked at me, and I was like, okay. And I was waiting for him to start like crying or throwing a tantrum or something. And then he just calmly walks up to the IV station, sits down, brings out his hand.
And like, prick me here. I remember this.
And then he holds his own hand and he looks at his hand. It's like, he shows me the vein he wants me to prick in. And I'm just standing there with my jaw hanging. Like, I just couldn't. And in that moment, I wanted to cry. I was like, what kind of pain has this kid gone through for him to just feel like this is nothing?
He's numb to it.
And that just was... I cried that day. I went home and I cried. Like, I kept thinking about... I can remember this kid with vivid detail. He had like the biggest eyes and the smallest nose. And like he was adorable. And then just that determined look in his face, like, it's not a big deal. And he probably did this every day, every week,
every other week, yeah.
That was just heartbreaking. But yeah, that really made me realize that I need to, get my shit together. Needles are not that big of a thing.
Yeah, but then let me give you a story on the other side of the spectrum. This girl walks in. She's probably like 6 or 7. And she's the pampered type of girl, She's gotten everything on a silver platter. Mom and dad listened to her. She was furious, screaming, and somehow I ended up, getting to work her up, like do her all her works and all that. And constantly she's like, don't prick me, I'll kill you. I swear to God. I will kill you, I will kill whoever came closer, I will hurt you. But then somehow...
How old was she?
6, 7.
Oh.
And as charming as I am. I convinced her to let me pass the IV. And I did. It didn't hurt. And she's like, okay, fine. Then I had to leave. But this girl wouldn't. She held on to my scrubs they fit a bit loose. I was walking back towards the room where we kept our stuff. She grabbed me by my scrubs. She's like, nahi, aap hi lagayenge medicine. I will only get medicated by you. I had to stick around an hour to an hour and a half after leaving time, just for this one girl. So, I guess privilege also comes into play.
Yeah.
The poor thalassemia kid had no other choice.
Yeah. I remember this one baby that came in for like a fever and something, and then I had to put an IV for her. And she reminded me of my niece.
Okay.
My baby niece. She literally had the same big eyes, curly hair. She even had the rabbit teeth. And she even cried the same way. And she was the same year, like same age. And she was wearing this pink shirt with the unicorn on it. And her dad, they were a young couple, and the mother was freaking out, and she reminded me of my cousin. And this child, she comes up and she's crying, and she is in hysterics at this point. She's like, she won't stop. Like, she would look at me and she would just the pitch of her voice would increase, then she would look around for a minute, then she would look back and she would go louder than that. She was just crying up a storm in there.
Okay.
And she was a chubby kid. So, you know,
Mm.
with chubby kids, it's kind of hard to find the veins sometimes.
Oh yeah, every time.
And oh my god, that was a nightmare. I think by the end, the mother, the father, me, and the staff nurse, and of course the child herself, we were all in tears. She was crying so much, and she kept reminding me of my niece, and I was like, oh my god, I can't imagine doing that to my own niece.
No.
And oh god, that was an experience.
Yeah.
Kids are hard to handle, and the amount of times I've been kicked in all sorts of places by kids. My face, my guts, my kidneys, my arms. I've been thrown up on. I've been cried on. I don't know, all sorts of things. This was a whole experience. You know, it shapes you as a person.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It either breaks you or makes you.
Mm-hmm.
It's either you're good with kids or you're not good with kids. But
I've seen people who were like very standoffish and who were like, I'm not gonna touch this, or you know, this is too. We had a kid that was in the NICU, and she had some, I think, hydrocephalus or something like that. And remember that kid who we couldn't just put an IV in because we just couldn't find a vein,
yeah.
and we were trying for like hours on end. And I remember that sometimes she would come in and we would just be standing there, and it felt like such a you know, a weird routine that we'd set up. She would come in every day and we'd have to, you know, pick her up again. And she had this, because she was in the NICU for such a long time, she developed this like rash on her body. And I had this one house officer with me. She came in and this girl had like this rash on her body, and she had peed and it was all smelly and stuff. This house officer comes in. I'm like, I was busy with another patient, so I was like, can you please pass an IV in her? She looks at the little child, and obviously you could smell it from far away, the smell of, you know, urine and stuff. And she makes this, she scrunches up her nose and she's like, no, I'm not gonna do this.
Really?
And she walks off.
Really?
And I look at her and I'm like, and then she's like, why don't you ask the staff nurse to do this? I'm like, this is your job.
Yeah.
And you actually get paid for this. I was so pissed. I was like, what? So you're not gonna look at this patient because...
Just because they smell.
Yeah.
That is pathetic.
And I was like, I don't know, but I hope that you grow out of this. If you want to be a proper doctor, like, I can't imagine...
I mean, maybe she's just doing peds just because she has to.
No, but this is not an attitude you're supposed to have anyways, regardless of what rotation you're doing. We've had some, you know, extremely unhygienic cases show up in medicine, in surgery, all sorts of places. And I think on the whole, like, it's just the principle of it.
I had to touch poop.
I had my hands up people's asses doing per rectum examinations. So
that's something else.
PVs and PRs. So it's not, I mean, if you're going to be disgusted with things like this in a hospital setting as a doctor, you don't have the privilege to choose which patient you get to treat. Because if you're going to do that, I don't think you're cut out for medicine. Please, just don't do that. Save yourself the trouble and save everybody else the judgment and just the idea that if God forbid I'm in a position where I am not in my best condition and I have to be treated, and then the doctor's like, no, I won't treat you because your hair smells. Bitch!
Oh yeah. Check your privilege, doctors.
Yeah, God.
Stop being so...
Anyways, so that really bugged me. But other than that, there were a lot of nice doctors as well.
Have you ever been bit by a heroin addict?
But I've been kicked by one, so I guess.
I will remember that for the rest of my life. I think I still have a scar.
Oh my God.
That guy...
I hope he got a tetanus shot after that.
I got an everything shot. Now, I don't know what I had. But yeah. Again.
I had one patient who was trying to steal everybody else's shoes.
What?
Yeah. This drug addict came in. And apparently everybody knew him because he'd always end up at the ER. So everybody's like, you know, it was not news for them that he had ended up. And somehow I got... You know,
did you strike?
I had the task to deal with him.
Okay.
And he came in almost on the brink of death constricted pupils,
Mhm.
The classic case of OD.
Mhm.
And then I brought him back to life. Like, he came back to life right in front of my eyes, and I was rejoicing. I was like, yay, I saved this patient. Half an hour goes by.
Back to the drugs.
Half an hour goes by.
Mm.
And he's like, Baji,
Mm.
kya main ghar ja sakta hu? I was like, not yet, you're not stable.
Translate, please. I
Can I go home?
Okay.
And
No, translate
then,
the Baji part.
sister, can I go home?
Yes.
And then 5 minutes later, I walk by again, and it's like, Baji, ek chadar mil jayegi?
Mm-hmm.
Sister, can I get a blanket? And my PG was sitting behind me, and he's like, does it look like a hotel to you? You're not here for a vacation. And then he just shuts up again. 5 minutes later, I come back, and the dude's nowhere to be found.
Mm-hmm.
I panic. I'm like, oh my god, what is he up to? Has he gone?
Mm.
I'm like running all over the place trying to look for this dude, and then and guess where he was?
Where?
He was outside, chatting up attendants,
Okay.
eating oranges with them, peeling oranges, and he was like, picture perfect, health and.
I think you stumbled upon Diogenes. Modern time.
And the next thing I know, he's trying to like steal some patient's sandals,
Ooh.
and I was like, you can't do this here.
Okay.
And then I basically sort of had to be a little stern with him, so I'm like, go back to your bed, lay down, go to sleep, and then he actually did. Snoring his, time away.
Okay.
And he had like a good night's sleep, like sweetest night of sleep that the person can have in an ER.
How could we afford to keep that person there?
It was a slow ER night.
It was a cold night.
And then the PG was like, let him sleep because he's been through a lot.
Aww.
I was like, oh my god, I don't know. But yeah, that was eventful, I guess.
Yeah, but at least you saved somebody's sandals.
Yeah. He had no idea who. Like, I tried to chat him up, and I was like, so where are you from? What are you doing? And he was a worker. He worked with the construction site that coincidentally was literally right in our premises of the, hospital.
Mm-hmm.
The building right in front of the ER, the construction that's going on.
Oh
He
yeah,
worked there.
yeah, they're making something over there.
And yeah, the paramedics had found him lying on a footpath somewhere outside. They brought him in.
That's where they find them mostly. Where else would you find them? But
anyways, yeah, that was another memorable experience. But anyways, let's just wrap this up.
we're almost at the end now.
Yeah, we are. I mean, we tried gynae.
Yeah, see, everyone gets rejected in their life, and I faced rejection.
You have to tell them why you got rejected.
Yeah. Okay. So we.
Non-explicit ways, please.
Yeah. There's nothing explicit. Everything was PG. Right. So me and we just go. This was also out of reference from Hagrid that day. So we talked to this PG, and she's like, "Okay, come on over. I'll take care of you guys." We both go to the labor room, sit down, and just wait around. She's like, "Just wait for me. I'm busy with patients. I'll come by and speak to you." We got bored of sitting down, and as we were sitting, just talking about some random stuff, I guess we were laughing too loud. Out of the corner of this labor room, someone screams out, "The hell do you guys think you're doing? Is this like a joke to you?" I got scared because I thought maybe someone was fighting somebody was that bad. I turned around and she was just screaming at the top of her lungs at us. See,
I had no idea.
and listen, I'm not a confrontational guy, but I was like, this bitch.
The audacity
Yeah,
right now.
I got up. I'm like, "Madam, did we do something wrong? Do you have a problem with us?" And she's like, "Who are you? Why are you here?"
And in the most rude way that somebody could ask you where you are from.
Yeah. So that was a bad omen. It was foreboding of a future coming.
It felt like we were being interrogated for like the worst possible crime.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, the PG that we were with, she tells her that these both are with me, and then she starts playing it off like she's
just joking, you know.
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha. It's okay. Go back. Sit down where you were. I was like, bitch.
I swear.
After humiliating us in front of everybody like that.
I would have encouraged Ruqayya to punch her in the face. I don't condone violence, but you should have. You should have just punched that lady.
God.
Her-
Gynae was, and personally, because I've already worked in gynae before, I've observed in gynae, so I already had this idea in my head. I knew that gynae is never a pleasant rotation to have,
Yeah.
and it's just I don't know what it is, but maybe it's the crying and the yelling and the pain
Yeah,
associated with
everything.
birth.
Yeah, everything Ruqayya is about to say will only sound good coming from a woman. Yeah, I would. I wouldn't want to put myself in that position. So
Yeah,
go
let me
on
just
ahead.
explain
Yeah,
why
go
I
on
was
ahead.
not keen on this observation on this observership anyways. So I just already had an idea, a premonition of what was about to go down, but we were like, let's just give it a try. And the minute we walked in, it's just the atmosphere suddenly changed. Like, it's like basically being on the surface of the sea and then just plummeting down to
Yeah.
the bed, and everything just sort of changes, like the air pressure, the light, everything just dark. It was,
Everything. When we entered the room, things clenched up.
yeah.
Now I leave that to your imagination.
I did not have a good
Yeah.
thought in my head right now, but yes, so that suffocated. I felt suffocated. It was like somebody had put like a cloth on my head and they were trying to, I don't know,
But
suffocate
then
me.
after that happened, the whole screaming at us thing happened. The PG we were with, she came to us and she explained to us like it's
Yeah, we actually had a good conversation. We were looking up like a patient with eclampsia, and she explained the whole thing, and it was actually nice. She was very polite with us, and she taught us. Like, I think in the span of 10 minutes,
she
I
actually did. Yeah.
yeah, I learned a lot about eclampsia and how to deal with these patients. And I was looking forward to that. I was like, yeah, this is a good environment. We can work with this.
Yeah.
But then
I got thirsty. I went to the cafeteria.
I think that was the mistake on your part. And
Yeah.
I think I had this feeling before he left. I was like, do you have to go? And he's like, yeah, I need to get water. And I was like, do you really have to go?
I really needed the water.
Did you?
I really did. I was dehydrated.
Well, he got that water at the expense of our entire
I mean, look, it was never gonna happen.
rotation.
It was never gonna happen. Even the PG, that she was a good person, but she wasn't willing to stand up for us.
Yeah.
So as soon as I came,
She straight up, she denied ever knowing us. And
that's the scary part. Like,
yeah.
Okay, so this happened. I came back with the water. I set my down on the table and I went inside the
Labor room.
labor room to give Ruqayya her bottle. And someone calls me from the back, like, you there.
It was a lot of pinpointing and
Yeah.
calling out names. Sort of
I
thing.
turned around and this lady is just staring into my soul. And I pointed at myself. I'm like, me? You talking to me? She's like, yeah, you come here. So I go over to her desk and she's like, why are you? Okay. Like, then I tried explaining that we're internees and we're here with this particular doctor. And we'd like to learn something. And then, just with nothing else to say, all she said was, our senior doctors, she stays in this place at this time, get permission from her, and then come back. And she pointed to the door and she's like, you can go.
And then she looked at me, you can stay. I was like, hell no.
I mean, I don't know. You should have stayed, I guess.
No, it's like I think it would have violated some colleague code, some bro code, because we done all our rotations together. So I was not about to abandon him and go into this. And you know what? The worst part is that this PG that we'd met up with, she'd promised to take us in to see a cesarean section. And Hisham has never seen a cesarean section or a delivery of any kind. So he was very excited about this. I mean, I'd seen it already.
So excited.
Yeah, so he was like, we were rejoicing. We were like, yay, we get to see this on the first day. Yeah. And then we actually found some previous house officers that we'd worked with in medicine and stuff, and we reconnected with them. And it was kind of funny. We were like, I was actually looking forward to this because all the things that I wanted this rotation to have it did. I mean, a good PGR who was ready to teach us, and then some house officers that were actually not going to treat us like wallflowers and work with us, and who knew that we meant business when we said that we're going to work here. So all of that was there, but then these witches from the west
Replace the W with the B.
I don't know what it was, but yeah, it kind of just all went down the drain. They were like, you know what? It's time. Like, your time has come to an end. Y'all should just, pack your shit up and leave. Goodbye.
It is time now to leave.
And then we decided that, it was good while it lasted. Let us not push our luck. It's been fun as long as we've been here, and we should end it on a good note rather than being disappointed and wasting our time. So that's what we decided. And here we are.
Oh God, here we are.
A year later.
One whole year.
I think we started this with, I think, no expectations at all.
I was pretty optimistic.
Okay.
I was never the pessimistic type of guy, but then little by little this person rubbed off on me. I'm becoming very...
We've had like opposite effects on each other.
Yeah.
I'm a little more optimistic now. This year, I started off this year very hopeful and I was a positive bitch. That's the switch I had. I went from being a pessimistic bitch to being a positive bitch. So I'm all about good vibes now.
Yes, good vibes.
And he's like, their glass is half empty. And I'm like, no, it's not.
I mean, it's 3/4 full and 1/4 empty.
There's always, a chance that it could topple over.
And yeah, I just don't know that this feeling in my gut. Something's gonna happen.
But no, I mean, I think we should end this with a positive attitude to make it count, because ultimately, the fact that we got to experience this in itself is a miracle.
It's like when Jesus walked on water.
Yeah, so I'm glad that we got to experience this. I'm glad that we got to meet all these people and learn from them. And most of all, I think I'm glad that I could grow as a doctor.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, I felt like I would not know anything. I felt like I could never be that doctor. But now, having worked in all these different rotations, I realized that I'm not that bad. I mean, if I try hard enough,
exactly.
I can do this.
This is all the confidence we needed.
Yeah.
Actually.
How do you feel after this 1 year of hard work? Honest hard work.
Honest hard work. I feel accomplished in a way, but then also I'm very sad. I just don't know how to describe it. But yeah, I know that I'm taking something with me. At least, if not anything, I'm taking with me the fact that one day I know that I'll be a good doctor, that I have it in me, because I've done it and experienced it firsthand.
And it did not break us, because I don't think we'll have any worse conditions than we've already faced.
Oh yeah, I don't think.
I mean, except for maybe war, which God forbid. I hope that never comes to.
Who do we go to war with?
A lot of countries want a piece of us right now.
Oh God.
But yeah, this has been a great experience, and now we are preparing for our future endeavors. A lot has happened in the past week itself. And I don't know, I mean, this is probably going to go up a lot later than...
Yeah, so let's leave that later. To another episode where you explain to them what's happening in your life.
We might be going back to China, and...
Might.
Which is something miraculous in itself, and I don't know if by the time this airs, I might as well be in China. I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah, so that's exciting. And we get to graduate anyways, in any case,
all's well that ends well.
It's been a good, eventful, adventurous journey that we've had.
Yeah.
And med school has been everything, tears, laughter, sadness, happiness.
Yeah.
All of it. It has had all the flavors of life that we could think of, including a whole ass pandemic that I don't think people...
The pandemic was the best part.
Was it?
Because of it, we got to do this.
I think life would have figured itself out in any case, but I would like to think that yes, that really played a part.
This is how life wanted it to play out. So
yeah, And I mean, you gotta work with what you have. And
Yeah.
life threw these lemons at us, and we ended up making a lemonade.
We made
A very
one hell of a lemonade.
yeah. So I guess that brings us to an end of this whole journey, and
Oh, God.
I would like to give your closing remarks.
You want me to give closing remarks?
Yeah, about the whole experience and
I mean, there's nothing more to say other than now I have the confidence in knowing that I will be a doctor, no matter what.
Mhm. Yay, go Dr. Hisham!
Yeah, yay me. And second of all, it's very sad. I don't know in what aspects I feel sad, but
You're closing a
No.
whole chapter of your life.
see, the thing with me is I've never been this sad. I don't know why. I never felt this type of sadness, but I guess it'll pass. But I'm taking good things with me here. I'm taking back memories, I'm taking back lessons. I'm going back a better man, I guess.
Definitely, that's something. I mean, to think that we are now entering the professional
Stages of our life,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and most of all, I feel like that the one thing that really makes me laugh sometimes thinking about is that I'm no longer, awkward when somebody calls me a doctor.
Oh yeah, you got through that, didn't you?
Yeah, because I
Dr. Ruqayyah.
remember in the beginning when I would be walking down and somebody would call like doctor, doctor, I would not turn around because I never associate myself with that title.
Who? Me?
Even though I was wearing a whole ass lab coat that said in big letters Dr. Ruqayyah, but yeah, I just never felt like it.
But now you do.
But now I do, and
Now you do.
I'm glad. Like I feel so happy when somebody calls me Dr. Ruqayyah, and I think I'll always feel happy when somebody calls me like
Yeah.
that. And I mean, my dad, he uses doctor with his name. Like it's all over the place. All his passport,
Yeah.
his ID, everywhere. So it's never just his name in itself.
Yeah.
He always has a doctor before his name. And I always thought like sometimes I felt like it was a little too extra. But then I realized that I understand now. I understand why he does that. You know that feeling? It's the cutest feeling in the world.
Exactly. We just work so hard for it, and
Yeah.
it's not even about the ego. It's just comfortable.
Yeah, it's just feeling good about yourself.
Yeah.
It's taking pride in what you've achieved.
Because not everyone is meant for this field, right?
Definitely,
Some
definitely.
special people are chosen, and I believe we were.
And I'm not trying to be conceited or anything. I'm just saying that some people come into this field expecting different things. Obviously, all of us come in,
Yeah.
but some people want specific things out of this, and they cannot always be noble reasons, and that really, messes with me because this profession is all about giving.
You can't
be selfish with
you
this
can't
profession.
take. There's nothing to take.
Yeah. Apart from people's prayers and their good wishes,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
that was, I think, the
felt
best part.
so good every time. And it's genuine, right?
Yeah.
It's not like just people just say bless you or this and that, but when these people bless us, it's like it comes from the heart,
Yeah.
and you feel like you actually changed their life.
It takes away all the tired, exhaustion,
Yeah.
all the sadness, all the frustration, all of that, all the negativity out of your life when you know that you helped this person heal. You've taken away that pain from them. You've just made them have a better day. That was the best feeling in the world. Like every time somebody complimented me, and it would be like the smallest things. You would answer some like question.
Yeah.
You would just remove an IV. You would like put on an IV. Like
It hadn't.
smallest
Yeah,
things, and people would be like, bless you, and I'd be like, oh my god, thank you so much.
It would be the most beautiful way, especially the old ladies.
Yeah.
Sweet old ladies.
They would like take their time. They would like rub your head,
Yeah.
and they would hug you, or sometimes like, and it reminded me of my grandma who passed away, and it just always felt very genuine and emotional. So I enjoy that a lot. This aspect of I think if I have to wake up every day and find one motivation to do this, it would be this: getting these prayers, getting these blessings from people that I can help.
Prayers do work.
So yeah, I guess this is where we end this chat. Thank you so much for being on this show and talking about your experiences and sharing with us your stories. And I hope that whatever or wherever you end up,
Yeah,
you
wherever I end up.
you be this great doctor that you were always meant to be.
Thank you for having me. And yeah, I'll always remember this. Thank you for this past year. Thank you for
Yeah, it has been a pivotal point in turning us from med students to doctors. So
Doctors,
obviously,
yeah.
I'm gonna remember this for that's for life.
God.
And yeah, this has been a roller coaster ride.
But yeah, I enjoyed every minute of it.
Definitely, all the goods, all the bads. It was
And,
fun.
I couldn't have done it with anyone else better than I had done it.
We were a good team. We
Yeah,
were
we
an
were.
efficient team, and
We
I
were.
enjoyed our teamwork. So yeah, I guess we've taken away a lot of lessons. We've taken away a good friendship. We've taken away some amazing times, some hilarious situations that we're gonna probably look back on and laugh and, reminisce in the coming years.
Mhm.
So overall, it was great. Yeah.
Yep. Then let's end on this good note.
All right. So, with that being said, what are your plans for the future? Just like a little overview of what you want your next 5 years to look like. Just something. Give me something.
I know.
5 years from now,
5 years
where do you
from
see
now.
yourself?
In the UK.
In the UK.
Hmm.
You've got big plans.
We can only make plans.
Hmm.
Destination
So
not
you'd
in our
be
hands.
you go up to like a restaurant. You'd be like, I need a bottle of water. A bottle of water.
I need a bottle of water.
Yeah. You'd be doing that in the UK.
I'd probably mix up my Australian and my British accents.
He mixes everything: the Scottish, the what is it? The Ireland, the England. But yeah, I mean, you'd be a nice cocktail of accents.
I already am a cocktail, so
We've already touched on that.
yeah. But yeah, hopefully that's my plan. But then
Mhm.
wherever life takes me, I'll just go with it. And hopefully one day I don't know. Let's see. It's too hard to tell now. But what about you?
I just hope that in 5 years I am wearing this lab coat, running around a hospital, not pretending to be busy, but actually being busy, and just helping people and just still loving this profession as I do today.
And I know you'll be an amazing doctor.
And I hope that we get paid for this.
In 5 years, hopefully.
I need the tune.
Yeah. If in 5 years we're not getting paid, we should just quit.
Yeah, they were just like, maybe this is not it for us. Oh my god. Okay, so with this being, I was like, I keep thinking of other stuff to like think.
It's hard to end.
Yeah, because we've like sat here and reminisced about a whole year of our lives, and it's hard to sort of,
And we didn't even touch on everything.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So there's like so much to talk about, but all in all,
in a 1 hour nutshell.
this is definitely not a 1 hour thing. So, but I think now it's time to end. Say goodbye.
Goodbye, all my lovely friends that I made in this one episode.
Yeah,
I hope you really enjoyed listening to us and just vibed with us.
Yeah, and I hope that somebody has taken the inspiration from us, and maybe. Because we've tried to be positive about a lot of things, if not everything.
We were positive about everything.
We don't hate ourselves. We don't hate this profession, even though sometimes we might have sounded like it.
We love this to that. This is what life is for us.
Yeah.
There's nothing else.
Yeah, and I love every minute of it.
Yeah.
I love the sleepless nights. I love the fatigue. I love the sweat, the blood, sweat, and tears, everything of it.
It's just a masochist.
And I hope that you can appreciate it. And whatever you're doing with your life, I hope that you are passionate about it and that you enjoy doing what you're doing, because otherwise, what's the point?
Exactly.
Yeah?
If you enjoy what you're doing, you don't work a day in your life. So.
Yeah, definitely. So, with that said, I hope you have a great weekend ahead. I hope that the next week for you is as bright as it was. And I'll see you next Friday.
Next Friday, but not with. I won't be there.
Yeah. It's okay. We can have you over some other time. If people love you enough,
Please comment.
you need to advertise. You need to ask them to.
I'm pretty sure I got them. I got each and every one of them.
Yeah. So, yeah. Goodbye. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.